Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching and or listening to this, welcome back to another episode of Drive Time Crypto. If you are new around here, hey, how you doing? And if you're a returning viewer, it's great to have you back. With that being said, let's jump right into this episode. So we're just going to have a quick look around the markets before we get into a couple of the news articles. As you can see, Bitcoin's hovering around 38,700. It's still doing this kind of creeping sideways, slightly up. I do feel like we are due another pullback soon, back down to the 30s, but that's just my personal opinion. But as of the markets today, the only one that's really doing anything is number 7 coin Solana, which is up by 12% today. The rest of them, it's they're in the green, but it's nothing to really write home about, just by a couple of percent. So, as the market's not really doing anything, I will move on from there and jump into the first article. So, in popular news today, just in, crypto becomes legal tender in India. Here's all you need to know. So if you weren't aware with what India's done, it's very much been the same as the big state beginning with C, that they kept on saying that they're banning it. They're not banning it, they are banning it. It's been back and forth for a while now, but yep, it is apparently official that the festival for crypto fans is finally coming to an end in India. India on Tuesday proposed the launching of the digital rupee by next year. It also proposes a 30% income tax on earnings from the transfer of virtual digital assets such as cryptocurrencies and NFTs. This means crypto is finally officially legal within India. As a result, India finally moves towards bringing the uncontrolled and unfettered cryptocurrency sector under a regulatory framework. The nation's finance minister, Nirmala, I can't say that name, sorry, also suggested a 1% tax deduction at source on payments made related to the purchase of virtual assets. So this is a really good move forward, not for India on its own, but for the whole market, I feel, because this is the kind of movements we need governments to be making. If we want this market space that we know and love to succeed and grow and carry on to be adopted, we need these regulations to come in, because once the regulations come in and people have a bit more confidence that it is under regulations, and the powers that be say that, you know what, it's regulated, we've got it controlled, we understand it now, then people are going to have more confidence to come into the market, and we're going to see even more adoption. So I know a lot of people are going to kick back and say, no, we don't want these regulations, this isn't what it's about, and that's the purists when it comes to the cryptocurrencies, about decentralization and not being able to be regulated. But let's be honest, if we don't get these countries that are starting to push forward and say that they're going to regulate the cryptocurrency space, then we're going to be in this perpetual loop where people are scared to enter it due to the lack of regulations, and it's just going to be a constantly messy kind of battleground to what can and can't be done, and businesses, especially businesses, will be very, very wary about entering the space. So this is a really nice move. It's eventually come, and now we don't need to listen to India tell us how they're going to ban it again. At the end of the day, it's such a big market for them. So even if we go down, and you can see that you see it there, Watch a Guru, India announces the new crypto regulations. Crypto is finally legal in India. Despite a climate of ambiguity and uncertainty surrounding crypto assets and NFTs, the latter is making deep inroads and affecting every economy. For example, Binance's own ADAX said last month that the yearly trading volume on its platform exceeded $43 billion at a 1,735% growth from 2020. So when you start seeing these kind of numbers and that kind of volume being traded, the governments have eventually had to take note. Then it was only a matter of time before instead of saying that they were going to ban it, that they were going to actually regulate it and welcome it in. And I can't help but feel like the banning. The banning of the current cryptocurrencies, etc., was more of a delay tactic to help them have more time to understand how they're probably going to regulate it and stop people from being encouraged to get in it by saying, no, it's bad, ban it. Oh, you never know, it might be so that they had more chance to get really involved in it and fill their bags maybe. But nevertheless, it's great news, I feel, and a good move by India. Let's see how this transforms, how it goes, and yeah, excited to see what they do, because I could see a lot of other countries maybe learning from them if they get it right. And saying that, moving on to the next story about governments possibly learning. The Russians are estimated to hold $200 billion worth of crypto. Will this stir government pushback? Russians own over $200 billion worth of cryptocurrencies, going by an estimate of the country's government. The estimate could have influenced the recent pivot the government of Russia made from wanting to ban crypto to now working on regulations for the industry, as reported by Bloomberg. Russia is set to release its regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies soon. The Bloomberg reports that according to the new estimates made by the government of Russia, the cryptocurrencies held by the country's citizens amount to over $200 billion, or over 16 trillion rubles. The estimate was obtained by several methods, including analysing the IP addresses of the biggest cryptocurrency exchange users. The estimate, which is equal to about 12% of the entire crypto market cap, is what the government is using to frame its regulatory policy for the crypto industry. So again, what's happening here is that the governments understand that there is a lot of money being moved about, used, bought, spent within the cryptocurrency space, and rather than just saying we're going to ban it, which has obviously not slowed the purchase or holding of cryptocurrencies down, that they're now like, well, we need to regulate it instead, because we can't ban it, and it'd be very, very difficult to ban it. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's possible to certainly dissuade people. But because it isn't, and you're seeing all this money's worth, then obviously the government want to know how they can take the slice of it, as always. With every government around the world, they always want their cut of the pie. So again, just like India, instead of banning it now, they're going to regulate it. We have heard this before, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes, but I really I'm starting to think that the tide's turning for regulation and adoption from governments, and them starting to, instead of just not understand it, wanting to understand it, embracing it, but at the same time regulating it, getting their cut of the pie. And as I said previously, I genuinely believe this is what's going to have to happen for us to carry on moving forward and adopting the currencies, because the reason why I find it important to adopt the currencies is because without cryptocurrency there isn't blockchain, but without blockchain there isn't cryptocurrency. I find that they work in this harmonious fashion, that the cryptocurrencies have got to be there for blockchain technology to be there, but the possibilities of blockchain technology are endless. So it's important that this regulatory phase comes in to help the technology grow and expand to where it could do. So with that being said, this was really popular news, along with the Indian was popular news as well, about the possibility of regulations coming in. And I'm going to move on to the next story now. In other popular news, and it's not nice news, but nevertheless it was popular news. 750 million in Bitcoin stolen from the 2016 Bitfinex hack is on the move. A massive quantity of Bitcoin is on the move, previously linked to the 2016 Bitfinex exchange hack. Just today, popular Twitter handle Whale Alert has reported two such instances wherein Bitcoin worth more than 750 million have been transferred to some unknown wallet. As per the recent report, more than 20,000 Bitcoin have been moved in 2 different transactions of 10,000 Bitcoin each. This is for the second time over the last year that hackers have been moving funds from the 2016 Bitfinex hacks. Back then, a total of 119,756 in Bitcoin was stolen from the exchange, sending the market crashing. Last year, when Bitcoin was trading at its all-time high, mid-April 2021, the hackers have moved the first batch of Bitcoin worth 750 million. So there's a bit of worry that this could have a negative impact on the market. Nevertheless, most of the exchanges have prevented cashing out the stolen money from the exchanges. However, the hackers are trying to find other ways of liquidating this. So yeah, I wasn't around in the market in 2016. I'll be honest with you. I don't really know much about the hack. I just saw this today when I was on crypto Twitter, and yeah, it seems that it's been dormant for quite some time, but now the Bitcoin is moving around, and it's gone to an unknown wallet. They are working with governments across the world, Bitfinex, to try and bring people to account for this. Whether they will or they won't, I don't know. It's quite significant for the market, because if we are to see a alt season, I believe that we need to see some sort of retracement coming for Bitcoin to see that it goes back up to the mid-50s for us to really kick off an alt season. Now, if $750 million worth of Bitcoin suddenly gets thrown onto the market, then this is going to be quite catastrophic, I feel, for the Bitcoin price. It's going to send it down to, I don't know whether they would do that or not. I don't know whether they can do that again, because the coins have been marked out of these wallets. There's great eyes on them, so I don't think it's as easy as flooding the market with Bitcoin to try and liquidate it. But it's nevertheless, it was a very popular news story here. It says 3.6 billion in Bitcoin from the 2016 Bitfinex hacks consolidates into a single address. 3.6 billion, or 94,643 Bitcoin stemming from the 2016 Bitfinex hack was moved and consolidated into a single wallet following 23 transfers. At the time of writing, the 3.6 billion in Bitcoin remain idle, and the trading platform Bitfinex says it continues to work globally with law enforcement agencies in regarding the matter. More than 79% of the 2016 Bitcoin moved into one address on February the 1st, 2020. Stolen Bitcoins were transferred into a wallet after 23 transactions. The wallet held approximately 94,643 Bitcoin. That is a phenomenal amount of Bitcoin. I believe that the space was a very different place back in 2016, and if you're new to the space and you're just listening to this video, I believe that the exchanges are a lot more stronger now, and they're a lot more savvy, and this kind of thing is a lot rarer. I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen, but then again, you can never guarantee that a bank won't get robbed. So there's no difference. The exchanges and banks are the same kind of outfit. So yeah, you put your money in a bank and you entrust it with your money not to get stolen, the same way that you can buy Bitcoin off an exchange, and if you leave it on that exchange, you hope that it won't get stolen. It won't be susceptible to a hack, but there's no guarantee for it. So it's kind of the same thing, but nevertheless, it was quite staggering when I read that there's 94,000 stolen Bitcoin in one wallet. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do, or what's happening, or whether it's just a bit of market manipulation. Who knows? But nevertheless, yeah, that was a really popular news. So moving on to the next one, and this, as always, is bound to happen. If I could predict 6 numbers on the lottery, is well as I could predict that MicroStrategy was going to buy the dip, then yeah, I'd not have to trade in cryptocurrency or be involved in the space, because I'd have a lot of money, because it's it's that guaranteed. But it's always seems to be popular news for some reason. Breaking: MicroStrategy buys another 660 bitcoins, over 1 billion profit in Bitcoin so far. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor today announced that his firm has purchased an additional 660 bitcoins for 25 million in cash today. MicroStrategy bought these bitcoins at an average price of $37,865 per bitcoin. With this purchase, MicroStrategy now holds over 0.5% of total bitcoin in circulation, worth $4.6 billion. So yeah, like I said, it's whenever you see a fall in price, when the price recovers a bit, then it's pretty much nailed on that MicroStrategy come out and say they bought the dip, and they have a phenomenal amount of Bitcoin now. If it's true what they've purchased, it says MicroStrategy is now nearly 1 billion in profit over their $3.78 billion worth of purchases of Bitcoin so far. The value of the 125,051 Bitcoin owned by the firm at current Bitcoin prices of 38,000 is nearly $4.6 billion. So at the moment, they are in profit. It seems that it's a wise investment, but what you've got to remember is they own all that, but they've got to be really, really smart with what they do with that now, because they own so much of the coins. Then even though they are up by 1 billion, even if they put $1 billion worth of Bitcoin on there, it's going to tank the price like you would not believe. That kind of search for liquidity would it certainly moved the market. So even though they're up $1 billion, I still believe that they've got to be smart so they don't hang themselves. They've got the rope there. They could hang themselves, because if they started moving Bitcoin out, if you knew that somebody owned that much Bitcoin and then they started selling the Bitcoin instead of buying it, then yeah, you're going to have fears that they're going to carry on putting it on that market. So I don't even think that they need to sell a lot of the Bitcoin. If somebody understood where their wallet was, and there was somebody watching the wallet, or they had an idea that it was MicroStrategy selling, then I think that could really send the market into a spiral. So they've got to be really careful. Here it's again, MicroStrategy buys another 660 Bitcoin, bringing the total value held to 3.78 billion. So he's very vocal about the fact of how much he owns and how much he believes in Bitcoin. And as always, they bought the dip. It was really popular news, so I just thought I'd put it in there. Not that it's of great interest, but if it's popular news, I'll drop it in, because it seems to be across the different pages. And moving on from that to our final story. And this is a nice story about the Cardano ecosystem. Liquidity Protocol ADAX launches on Cardano mainnet, several dApps in pipeline. Blockchain network Cardano is hitting back at criticisms for its lack of development activity since smart contract integration was first launched last year. This is not through words, but an acceleration in decentralized applications development on the platform. The latest to join Cardano's DeFi ecosystem is ADAX, as the decentralized exchange announced its mainnet launch on Sunday. So, for those not looking at the screen, it's the Twitter account of ADAX Pro. ADAX crossed the finishing line. We're making meaningful contributions to the Cardano ecosystem and delivering a long-term held promise. ADAX DEX version 1.0 is now live on the mainnet, and you can check it out, and it gives you the website there. So yeah, there's been a lot of backlash towards Cardano, that since the Alonso hard fork, that there hasn't really been much development on the blockchain, not as much as people thought. But recently you've had the likes of SundaeSwap, MuesliSwap, and now ADAX have launched decentralized exchanges upon the network. And also the Cardano founder Charles Hoskin has also addressed the FUD on multiple occasions, urging users to sit tight while the detailed testing and auditing process for the same is carried out. For instance, in a personal blog, he has argued, "We've always chosen a systematic, patient and refined process that moves publication by publication, release by release, instead of chasing hype and the latest cycle." I'll be honest with you, I do own Cardano. I like Cardano. I see it as a long-term investment, a long-term project. I believe what they're doing, and to be honest, I like a lot of people, they don't understand or appreciate how early they are in the space, or they want to see stuff now. And it with the same kind of people that say, why hasn't stuff been going on, why aren't they doing stuff, there isn't enough, it's a ghost chain, there's nothing going on it, etc, etc, loads and loads of FUD. But then if they pushed out all these different dApps and all these applicational uses upon the blockchain, then the blockchain started to struggle and couldn't handle the momentum that it's built, because it's not been tested rigorously and looked at, then the same people that push the FUD would be pushing the it's no good, it's not, it wasn't going to be an Ethereum rival. It's you can just hear it now, how they go from they're not doing enough to, oh, they can't handle what they're doing. So yeah, it's nice to see that there's yet more stuff happening on the Cardano network. I can't wait to see what else happens on there, but I just thought that I'd end off with that news story, because I thought it was good to see. So I'm going to go ahead there and start wrapping up this episode. As always, this is never financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. All I can say is thank you very much for sticking around and watching this episode until this point. If I can ask you to give me a like, a subscribe, or even a comment, that would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, I hope your bags are full, I hope your bags are profitable, and I hope you are enjoying the crypto ride. With that being said, I'll see you at the next episode. Cheers. Bye.